Hey, Daddy, this is the man of the champions, Bill Fonzie Alfonso, giving a shout out to something else. Something else, Daddy.
This is Nicole Matara, Great Warrior Wolf, and you are listening to Something Else.
I'm Tony Cini, and you're listening to Something Else.
Hey everybody, it's Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, and you are listening to Something Else with Arya.
Episode number 317 of Something Else. Feast your ear holes on this week's episode as we take a look at Mid-South Wrestling from August 3rd, 1985. My name is Arya, and joining me as always is Al Perez's mesh body shirt to my Jerry Gray's robe. It's Alyssa. Alyssa, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm hanging in there.
You somehow made it now 3 weeks. Some people might think that I'm using some sort of hypnosis on you.
You do know how to use your mouth.
Wow. What a comment you're making here on this fine, standing podcast that we have. And we would never, sink that low here on this show. All of our longtime listener knows that.
You're kind of breaking up, Lovey.
Longtime listener understands that we would never, ever sink that low.
Okay, whatever you say.
Yes. All right, so we got a lot to talk about this week, but it's mostly 12 minutes of talking to start the show off this week. But thankfully, there's a lot to break up here, so we're not going to listen to 12 straight minutes. Let's go to the intro of It's Out here with JR and Joel, and they're going to pitch it to the first of 6 segments with Bill Watts in it. But let's just go to that right now, and then we'll be back to talk about it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mid-South Wrestling. I'm Tim Ross, and along with Joel Watts, we'll describe the actions you'll see in the next 60 minutes. It's going to be a tremendous program, ladies and gentlemen. We'll also be highlighting the big confrontation, the final confrontation coming down in the Superdome. We'll be talking about that in just a moment, but Joel, I know you've got a big announcement to make.
We have a new television champion, Jim. It's Hacksaw Butch Reed. He won the title from Dirty Dutch Mantell on July the 22nd in downtown New Orleans at the Municipal Auditorium. And Dirty Dutch Mantell has asked for a rematch, and Butch Reed has granted it to him right here on television. That will be our television main event.
It certainly will. That television title match here today, just a few moments, ladies and gentlemen, and this confrontation between Cowboy Bill Watts and Skandor Akbar has finally come to a head. The final confrontation has been signed to happen in the Superdome, and no one can better explain this tremendous struggle for the supremacy in Mid-South, and it goes beyond just a physical supremacy. The Cowboy Bill Watts, he's at the heart of the matter. He's made several statements about this situation. Let's go now to Cowboy Bill Watts.
On May the 4th in Jackson, Mississippi, one of the most heinous acts of barbaric terrorism that has ever been perpetrated in any professional sport happened to Hacksaw Jim Duggan at the hands of Skandor Akbar, a man from the Far East, where terrorism is an accepted word, where terrorism is almost brings you to hero status. Let's watch and relive that moment that has affected my life and everyone in Mid-South so drastically, where Duggan almost lost his eyesight and his career.
So it's been a while since we've had Geopolitical Bill Watts here on the show. It's the terrorism drinking game. Take a drink every time he mentions terrorists and terrorism, and you may not make it till the end of this episode.
I don't think my liver would survive.
So they're building up to the Superdome, which I had to look up because they kept saying the Superdome, 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 but never said when it was. So this show aired August 3rd. It is actually next weekend, August 10th. Now, I'm sure we'll see some sort of highlights of it on the following week's episode because, the main event is a loser leaves town. They'll get to this later on when Watts and Duggan cut their promo, but it's loser leaves town for 90 days. If it is, they don't, and it's funny because they didn't even actually say the match, but it's Jim Duggan and Bill Watts versus Kamala and Kareem Muhammad. And if Kamala and Muhammad lose, then Akbar has to leave for 90 days. But if Duggan or Watts lose, whoever loses the fall has to leave for 90 days. And
I mean, that seems
sorry,
kind of
go ahead.
like low. That seems like low stakes. Like, go sit in the corner for 2 minutes and think about what you did. Um, but I don't know. I'm not as ingrained into the wrestling culture, I guess.
Well, the funny thing is, like, it means less then than it did now because, you know, if you like, let's say this was real, and let's say the loser really had to leave and not come back for 90 days. And, they've done variations of this stipulation a lot. There are so many other territories in 1985, so many different promotions you could go work for, and most of them tend to link together and have a friendly attitude towards one another. That, like, let's say Jim Duggan lost and they wanted to legitimately have him leave town for 90 days. Bill would just call up Fritz in Dallas or call, if Mike Graham is still running in Florida and say, hey, can you use Duggan for 3 months and then send him back here? You know, so it's not quite the end of the world, even though it's kind of the end of the world on a local standpoint, because, since these shows for the most part are not on cable television, you're in your own little area of the world. So if Jim Duggan leaves town for 90 days, you as a fan are not watching Jim Duggan for 90 days, even though he's over in Florida wrestling instead.
Right.
Um, but yeah, the only honestly, and we'll see how this one plays out because I really don't know how this plays out. But like they've done like I said, they've done the stipulation a lot, but by and large, like the only person that's ever really left was DiBiase, and that's because he had tours in All Japan Pro Wrestling to go to. So it's not
And
like, oh man,
did
whatever.
we see that champion match in July? Like, or was that one of the things that they just kind of yada yada into the storyline?
The TV title,
Yeah.
which so no, so I was actually going to bring that up too. They mentioned Dutch did lose the TV title to Butch Reed. I had brought this up 2 weeks ago because they didn't mention Dutch was the TV champion in the last TV taping. And me being me, perked my ears up because I'm like, does that mean he's about to lose the title? And sure enough, he went ahead and lost the title on a non-televised show to Butch Reed.
Um. Also, at the same time, they weren't calling um oh the champion. They were going by his other name.
His Christian name of the Nightmare.
Yep.
They go back and forth on that, like especially now that Eddie Gilbert has been booted from being with the champion. They've been calling him the champion a lot less. And we'll get to the champion slash the Nightmare later on. But so when we left here, so Bill Watts didn't even send us to the angle. Bill Watts sent us to Bill Watts talking about it back in May, which is hilarious when he's cutting a promo, cutting to another promo. Now, this is the first time you saw the angle where they lit Jim Duggan's face up with a fireball. Now,
Yes.
yes, you saw the crappy one from last week with Mike Graham that, they replayed here and it looked just as bad in replay. What did you think seeing this where, like, it legit looked like they threw a ball of fire at him? I mean, it was a real ball of fire, but it looked a lot more intimidating than last week's did.
I think you all need OSHA.
Was OSHA a thing in 1985? I don't even know.
Um, yes, I think it was. I think it was created as God, I should know that.
You should, just because it's your job now, you have to know what the OSHA, when OSHA began.
Yeah, it's actually part of
Uh,
the training that I go
the,
through.
so December 29th, 1970. So OSHA was a thing here in 1985.
But y'all need better OSHA. More OSHA. OSHA for everyone.
So they kept doing this back and forth where they'd go back to Watts. He talked for like 30 seconds and pitch it to another segment of video. And it really was a best of Bill Watts promo. You know, anytime he's ever had to do these pro-America promos, you know what he said. And so it finally built up to him actually talking for a little bit of time. And so let's go to Bill Watts here talking by himself, and then we'll be back after that.
I make no apology for any weapons that I need to use because this is a war against a terrorist. The same kind of mentality that hijacked our people on that TWA flight and tortured them and slapped them around and laughed at the impunity with our reaction. I'm not a bleeding heart liberal. I'm a law and order man. I'm a man that's an American supremacist. And let me tell you something, in this war, it has to come down to a final solution. You and I, Akbar, because that's what it's all about. But people have come back to join me. Hacksaw Butch Reed, Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch, Mike Graham, the son of a closest friend I ever had in the wrestling industry. He had come in too, and he became an inadvertent victim. As Akbar, you preyed on my emotion, knowing how bad I want to get my hands on you, and you had a trap set for me. And look what happened to Mike Graham as he gave of himself unselfishly to prevent what happened to Jim Duggan happening to Cowboy Bill Watts, and Akbar torched him. And you see it right there. Well, Akbar, you can't get away with it. I promise you, and I promise the people of Mid-South, I'll put everything I have on the line in a final showdown against you, Skandor Akbar, in the Superdome.
So we tend to avoid talking politics on the show, mostly because, you know, the YouTube algorithm doesn't like it when you talk about politics. But there's not a single person watching this show, including Alyssa, who's been watching for 3 weeks, who needed to be told that Bill Watts was not a bleeding heart liberal. That one was pretty obvious.
You know, I was a little surprised. I thought we were going to see him at, you know, Greenpeace next year, but hey, what do I know?
I also had to laugh. We have to have a final solution.
A final solution?
Yes, which was Hitler's name for what he was doing with the Nazis.
Jesus.
Yes.
And he's also a white supremacist.
No, he's an American supremacist.
But, right.
Yeah. You don't know the whole story of Bill Watts, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you the man was racist, but he definitely embraced minorities when it made him money. You know?
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yes. You know, his biggest star was the Junkyard Dog, who was and still is an African-American gentleman, and he made Bill Watts a ton of money for a few years. And yeah, it's why once the Junkyard Dog left, it became a running joke that he will find a black man, no matter how talented or lack thereof they are, and push them as a top star. And Butch Reed is a pretty good second place, but you missed some of the terrible, terrible people we had to watch on this show getting big pushes because they were African American.
I mean, Jesus Christ, this could not be made today.
What was that?
This could not be made today.
No,
Like,
no, no. Like not that it couldn't be made today because that we're pushing, people of color and whatnot, but like it
the
was more
racism.
blatant back in the day that we're pushing people of color because he was a person of color.
Honestly, I was just thinking the racism towards the other
Oh, that too.
the other guy.
Yeah,
Um,
General Skandor Akbar. And now you might be wondering, Bill Watts has spent 10 minutes yapping about this angle of Jim Duggan. You might be wondering where the hell Jim Duggan is. I don't know where he was, but Jim Duggan has magically appeared for our next snippet of promo, which is actually our last with Watts. Let's go to Watts and Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
When Mike Graham got burned, and this man standing next to me has felt that pain and agony, was off 4 weeks and almost ended his whole career, and he almost lost the vision of an eye. It all flushed out. Akbar, your army is flushed out. Your tactics are flushed out. It's down to survival. And in the greatest wrestling structure in the world, the Superdome, it has to take place. It has to end. That's why we've called it a missing in action match. No disqualification. If you run or leave, it's just like losing. It's got to be settled. And if Duggan and I, and let me tell you, we're putting it all on the line, everything we have, our body, our heart, our investment, our time in wrestling, the loyalty of the fans. If Duggan or I, either one of us, if we get beat, the one that gets beat leaves Mid-South for 90 days. And Akbar, if your team gets beat, you leave Mid-South because you're what's behind it all. You pull the strings on those savages. Jim, this is more desperate than
like
any...
you said, Bill. It's all on the line because this is the land of the free and the home of the brave. And that's why you have men like Cowboy Bill Watts and Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Dick Murdoch and the rest of us sticking together. The Superdome, everything is on the line. MIA, baby, somebody's got to go. You can't run, Akbar, because if you do, you're gone. You're going to have to face us, and the Dome is where it's going to happen.
We ask no quarter, we give none, and we ask nobody to take our place. Jim, it's you and I, and that's what it's down to. You and I are Akbar. Who's going to be here? Missing in action. The Superdome. It has to happen.
A missing in action match, which isn't even a very good name for it, because it's just a no disqualification match. A missing in action match implies that, like, I don't know, people aren't showing up for the match.
or that the match just isn't happening. Like that match that we were talking about earlier.
We'll get to it. There's quite a few things that don't happen on this show. But now I did look up because I'm like, man, Watts is really going heavy on these promos here to try to draw a house. And so I was curious how it ends up doing. And according to ProWrestlingHistory.com, the show drew 15,800 people to the Superdome next week, which is actually the highest so far of 1985, and ends up only being beaten by a little bit on the Thanksgiving show. So it does do pretty well. And it's funny because the Thanksgiving show, it's not even a very, it's not even really a Superdome show. They do 3 matches and then show Starrcade 85 on closed circuit. So I'm not even going to say that counts. So I'll say that this was the highest they do for a Superdome show this year. Because they did 9,500 in March for the Jim Duggan, Ted DiBiase Tuxedo Street Fight match, and then 11,000 in June for the Ric Flair Terry Taylor match that we talked about at the time. So being a newbie to the wrestling scene, just following these promos and what they've shown, would this first 10, 12 minutes of the show have inspired you to go buy a ticket?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
Because I don't want to listen to America for a half hour, 45 minutes.
Now if it helps, they don't really cut any promos on the Superdome show. It's just match. But
that's
okay.
Good.
Now we just had to listen to Watts for 12 minutes. And I don't think anyone has ever begged to hear a General Skandor Akbar rebuttal, But hey, we needed to get a rebuttal from General Skandor Akbar. Let's go to Akbar here with some thoughts here on the upcoming match.
Tough, tough world we live in, Bill Watts. As you and Hacksaw Duggan have found out, in retrospect, when you summarize everything that has happened, I could care less about you and this country. The only thing I care about is money. And right now, I'm riding high in Mid-South, and I have no intentions of leaving the Mid-South area. So get it and get it straight, Watts. I've got enough wealth to spend to the end of time to see that I eliminate you, that I eliminate Hacksaw Duggan. It's all coming down in the Superdome because I gladly agree to the stipulation, because I know when you think the deck is stacked against yours truly, you're sadly mistaken.
So this is not the only time I'm going to say this week. Akbar said that he could care less about this country, which means he does care, at least a little bit.
Well, it is just a character, so he doesn't want to, ruin his chances of getting another job, because they can be like, oh, you don't care about this country? No, I said, if you listen to exactly what I said, you know what I mean?
I could care less. But yeah, so that is the build to next week's Superdome show. And like I said, I'm assuming the week after, or maybe even the week after that, we'll get we'll get some recaps. They'll probably show us the finish or whatever. I know that Kareem Muhammad and Kamala win. I assume Watts is the person who gets pinned, but I don't know how it happens anyway.
You don't know something?
Believe it or not, I do not know everything about wrestling, especially Mid-South from the mid-'80s. Now, we've been watching this since December of 1981, so we're approaching 4 years of watching Mid-South wrestling. And, we've seen it all, but, they've acknowledged on TV, the past year or so that Watts is the owner. He's the guy in charge. So if he loses, what exactly does that mean? And I guess that they're not really explaining, or if he does lose, they'll probably explain it later. Does that mean he just can't wrestle for 90 days? Does that mean he, the owner of the company, cannot run the company for 90 days? What does that mean?
That is a great question. Maybe he has to sell the company.
Well, he tries to do that in 1987, and I guess he successfully does it. He just doesn't get paid everything he was owed. Because, yeah, part of the problem with these regional promotions like Mid-South, and they do try to expand nationally next year, and we'll get to that. But when you base off one region and that region goes through a recession like New Orleans is going to in the next year or two, suddenly people don't want to spend money on frivolous things like pro wrestling tickets. And when that's what your entire business is based off of, things tend to spiral quickly.
No,
and,
really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're in 1985. They're doing really, really well in 1985. I know we don't watch World Class anymore, and I know you really don't know what that is, but World Class is doing really, really well in 1985. And both companies do pretty well in 1986. Come 1987, one company's out of business and the other one more or less is.
1985. I remember it
Yep.
fondly.
Embrace it while we still can. I was I just turned 9 months old a week ago.
I remember it
And
fondly.
and we're getting to the point now where my mother is about to become pregnant with my brother.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. So we go to commercial, and we're told that when we come back, we're going to have our TV main event of Butch Reed and Dutch Mantel. But Dutch has some stuff to say now about losing the TV title. Let's go to Dutch now with some shit to say.
Okay, Mid-South, listen up and listen up good. Now, there's a situation going on around here that needs to be corrected. Now, everybody knows Butch Reed is the new Mid-South television champion, and he took it off yours truly, me. And I don't take kindly to defeat, nor do I like to lose. I'm a sore loser, have been and always will be. But Mid-South, at least they had the foresight to make Butch Reed put that title back up on TV today against me. Now, Reed, how does it feel to be forced to do something? I don't think you like it, but there's more than the title at stake here. Because you're the front runner for the World's Heavyweight Championship, and Ric Flair has promised me a substantial sum of money if I can take you out. And not only today will I win my title back, I'm going to make a lot of money. Get ready, Reed. I'm looking at you today.
Now, they've been playing up this angle now for a few weeks where Ric Flair, the World Heavyweight Champion, is allegedly trying to pay off all these wrestlers to take out Butch Reed. That's not a good sign when you're the World Heavyweight Champion, you know.
I mean, does it work? No.
Well,
is it something
we'll
you can do? Sure.
we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Ric Flair will find the right person to take him out. I
and
do
how
like
much
that Dutch
money are we
admits.
talking about?
Well, they don't say, and that's actually a smart idea because if they don't tell you, then your imagination runs wild. Because you're supposed to believe Ric Flair, he's the world champion. So he's making millions of dollars going all around the world defending his title. And so he could have endless amounts of money to go and pay off wrestlers to try to take out Butch Reed. And by not giving you a number, you just have to like picture it in your brain. Oh my God, how much is this man offering?
I mean, I do plenty of things for, $10 and a pack of gum.
So if Ric Flair offered you $10 and a pack of gum, would you try to permanently injure me?
You? No.
Okay, good. See, my prior co-host, he would have to think about it a little bit longer.
Butch Reed?
We may have to keep you around.
Butch Reed? I'd probably pay to kick that man in the balls.
You could be paid to kick Butch Reed in the balls?
No, I would pay to kick him in the balls.
Okay. Now, I should let you know that Butch Reed passed away in 2021, so it's a little bit easier to now kick him in the balls.
It depends. Never mind. I'm getting too far up into my own head.
We may have to edit parts of the show out if you keep going. Butch Reed, the TV champion versus Dirty Dutch Mantel. So this is your first TV title match you've seen. This is your first time you notice that they get a medal for being the TV champion instead of a title belt. Any thoughts on the TV title medal?
Shiny.
Yes. So it's Butch Reed versus Dirty Dutch Mantel, except it isn't. Because Dutch throws the referee out of the ring before the match even begins and begins whipping Butch with Shoe Baby. Reed catches it at one point and gets it out of Dutch's hands and begins whipping Dutch and the referees who run in with it. Bill Dundee runs in to try to help out because he's in a scumbag alliance with Dutch, and he got the same fate. And I guess we're just not having a match. We just went to commercial and ignored that we were supposed to have a title match here.
Yeah, I have some interesting notes on this one. The guy with the hat, yeah,
Dutch?
I really liked his hat, but I don't look good in hats, so I would never be able to wear one of those. But I did really like his hat.
Okay, so it's not like you liked his hat because he was wearing it. You liked the hat because you wanted to wear it, even though you feel you wouldn't look good in it.
Yes.
I'm with you. I've always wanted to wear more hats, but it's like I've got a giant head. It just doesn't look good.
Yeah, the ADHD was a little strong tonight. I did say, how many F words do we get in this before we get
As
fired?
many as you like.
Okay, so I said my literal first note in this match is I wish they'd shut the fuck up already. No one wants to fight tonight. Jesus.
Turns out there was more to that than you'd think. 'Cause, yeah, we didn't even have a match. Uh,
And
Now, if let's pretend you were Dutch and this is 1985, and the world champion is offering you a large sum of money to take out Butch Reed, are you even trying to have a match? Are you even trying to like win the title? Or would you go with Butch's or Dutch's strategy, excuse me, and just start whipping Butch with your whip?
that's a different podcast. Um, so
This is we're not talking about roots here.
yeah, the I want to call it racism, but then the the black guy gets the whip, and I'm like, okay, now we're like right up where shit is getting good because the black guy was just fucking taking it. Like, I don't even think he flinched, and then the white guy, it barely touched him, and he's like, "Oh my god, it's the end of the world." So that was kind of hilarious. um,
So I had to laugh, and I know you're not going to get why this is funny either. And Trey didn't either because he wasn't here when this originally happened. But the next match, Dick Murdoch versus Carl Styles. And I'm like, oh, hey, look, it's Styles. Someone tell Dutch. Because 10 years from now, in the early 90s, there's a promotion called Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and we talk about that on the Thursday show. And one of the early storylines was that Dutch, who was a commentator slash part-time wrestler, he kept being beaten up by one of the other wrestlers that he was picking a fight on. So he got Carl Styles to be his bodyguard. And Carl Styles lasted like a month before he suddenly disappeared. And so for the next month, there was like every week, the other announcer, Bob Cotter, would say, "So Dutch, what happened to Styles?" And Dutch would blow him off. And so now when I'm watching Carl Styles in 1985, especially on the same show as Dutch, I'm like, hey, look, it's Styles. Someone tell Dutch.
did he eat him?
What?
Like, the guy that disappeared, did he get eaten? Or, like, is he just...
Not like he got eaten. Jim Cornette kind of mentioned it, that he was a bit of a flake, and that they were better off without him. So they just let him disappear.
Don't we all
So to
wish we could
continue,
disappear?
well, I don't know. And hey, we are still not getting any more wrestling because the match is scheduled with Dick Murdoch versus Carl Styles. But Sir Oliver Humperdink has shown up in the ring and does not want this match to happen. Let's go to Sir Oliver Humperdink.
With Mr. Styles, I think we've come to an arrangement. I agree with Bill Watts about very few things, but what he said at the top of this program today rings very true and clear. People have to take care of their business right here and now. Murdoch, I don't want to wait until the Superdome to get a piece of you. So what about going at it right here, right now on this program, huh? How about it, Murdoch? You got any guts? Huh? What do you say? Come on, are you a man or a mouse?
Boyd Pierce, you hear these people out here, Humperdink? They want it. They want it right now. So you get your little Pillsbury Doughboy body out of here and bring us Nightmare. Let's settle it right now. Put that North American title on the line and let's go for it right now, big boy.
You got yourself a match, Murdoch, but who you're going to be facing is not the Nightmare. It's the gentleman you see coming behind you right now, Daddy.
Okay, so I'm going to pause that because I don't need to be knocked on YouTube for copyright here. So I have to laugh because Dick Murdoch, of all people, is making fun of Sir Oliver Humperdink for having a bit of a stomach and being a little out of shape.
Are you a
I think
muppet
it's
of a
a little
man?
bit of the
Or a very manly
pot
muppet?
calling the kettle black.
Sorry.
Are you a manly Muppet or a Muppet of a man?
I don't
So,
know.
so out comes the Gimp. I
The what?
I'd literally just been watching Pulp Fiction yesterday, and while he did not have the full Gimp bodysuit, it literally he out comes a man in the Gimp mask, and it ends up being Lord Humongous, and I'm not even sure which Lord Humongous this is because there were so many people who did that gimmick in Memphis, but you know, out comes Humongous, and he takes off the mask to show his other mask. Um, is a hockey mask here. And hey, the bell rang and we actually had a match. And so we got
Humongous is a
Dick.
weird name.
Is it better or worse than his full name of Lord Humongous? And they didn't call him Lord Humongous here, but that was the name he used in Memphis.
Well then. And I'm sorry, I can't get over Humperdink's mullet.
It is a tremendous mullet. Don't feel bad about that at all, my friend.
You were gonna say a merc, and that's exactly what it looks like. It's horrible. Looks like he has a
So go ahead.
It looks like he has a vagina of hair coming out of the back of his head. I can't.
A vagina of hair.
You're never gonna unsee it now.
So this Lord Humongous, according to Cage Match, was Jeff Van Camp, who was, like I said, one of many people who wrestled as Lord Humongous. And he is actually going to be here for a little bit. He's going to be here till the end of the year. So yippee-ki-yay, Melon Farmer. Hopefully you liked our giant Gimp. But Murdoch elbows him in the hockey mask, which hurts Murdoch. Gimp busted Murdoch open with a punch to the head. The humongous Gimp put on the Shinnomaki, and in a bit of a shocking result, he beat him. Murdoch passes out, and so Humongous, in his debut, cleanly defeats the number one contender to the North American title.
So, like, was Murdoch like an actual threat? Because he looks like someone's real estate agent. Like,
he's supposed to be a threat. He is actually going to be wrestling the champion for the North American title next week at the Superdome.
He looks like he should be someone's dad cooking on the grill.
He is something. He's like one of those people where it's like, if your introduction to pro wrestling was modern day wrestling where you have to be good looking and have an aesthetically pleasing body to be on television, he would never make it to TV. And same as Dusty Rhodes. Him and Dusty Rhodes were tag team partners back in the 70s. And Dusty and Dick had the same type of workout routine. We'll say that.
I mean,
and
don't get me wrong. I'm no supermodel, but like he just looks like a little suburban dad. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I got like he looks like he should be speaking with like one of those sweet like Midwestern accents.
He's a legendary tough guy, but it's like, yeah, he definitely looks like the guy who lives next door.
Yeah, exactly. Not my next door, but sure.
It would be interesting if he lived next door to you, especially since he died in 86 or 96, excuse me.
Wow.
But
that's
now,
the year I was born.
Well, there you go. In fact, I think he actually died like a month after you were born. I think it was June of 96.
Really?
Let me see. Dickie Murdoch, June 15th, 1996.
Almost a month to the day.
Yep. Almost.
That just proves that I'm the real champion.
Hey, do you think he's going to beat the champion? Although at this point, the Gimp should be getting the title shot. He cleanly
Oh,
beat Dick Murdoch.
was that like real blood that I saw?
It was real blood.
I'm shooketh. Did he not know how hard the hockey mask was supposed to be? Like,
apparently not.
I felt that pain. That was like the realest pain I've seen coming out of that arena so far.
You felt that, but you've seen two people get a fireball thrown in their face.
Well, I've never had a fireball thrown in my face, but I've banged my elbow on more things than I want to admit, especially your damn head.
She kicks my ass every time we sleep together. And by sleep together, I mean like literal sleep together. She beats me up all night long. I don't know how I sleep as much as I do. Allegedly. So we get Jake the Snake Roberts and the Barbarian versus the Mongol and Ken Glover. And I gotta tell you this, I forgot to look up who the hell this Mongol was. This guy was a fucking midget. Especially compared to Jake and the Barbarian. Like, he looked like he was like 5'2".
You can't use that word anymore.
Well, we're talking about 1980s wrestling, which actually reminded me, while I was watching this, last week they told us that the popular little midget wrestlers were going to be on this week, and we didn't get any popular little midget wrestlers. Not only that, we didn't even talk about them. So maybe they'll be here next week.
Well, I mean, the Mongol
because they do that a lot. Well, I guess we did have the Mongol. Now, if next week the Mongol's in the midget match, we'll know, oh, okay, he was just one of the taller midgets. So Glover got his ass kicked and tagged into the Mongol, who got booted right in the face. Roberts tagged in and pinned him with a DDT. Any thoughts on this one?
I'm having trouble with the choice of hairstyles. I know that's such a girl thing to say, but like one guy looked completely bald and then he turned around and he had a goatee on the back of his head, and I was dead. I was DOA. And the listening what?
You were DOA, you say?
Yes. And then I have narrator. I know that's not the right word, but words are hard. The announcer talking about this guy's sexy tree trunk legs was fucking throwing me in. Go ahead.
They said that the Barbarian had sexy tree trunk legs.
Yes, if you listen, he's like, oh, this man has fucking giant ass tree trunks for legs. They're so muscular and strong. And I'm like, yeah, okay, wrestling is so straight.
It's so straight it goes all the way around to being gay.
It's true.
Hey, it is one of the gayest sports in the world. You put on your underwear, you oil yourself up, and you try to lay on another man for 3 seconds.
It's true.
Tag team champion Ted DiBiase versus Wendell Cooley. DiBiase gave Cooley just enough offense so it wasn't an outright squash match, and he won with a power slam and a figure four. Now, I know that Wendell Cooley is going to get a little bit of a push towards the end of the year. So looking at that through those eyes, it's like, okay, I can kind of see, they're giving him a little bit. Like, he's losing every week, but they're giving him a little bit so that when he does get that big upset win and does start getting a little bit of a push, you get to go, oh, yeah, he wasn't the shits. He just was constantly being beaten by people who are more experienced than him. And now he's gotten experience and, is going to get some wins.
All I can say is it's a good thing they have different color hair. So
They're
I
both
could
in
not
red
tell these
tights.
two. What?
They were both in red tights.
And red shoes. Slightly different red shoes. But my God, like, if I couldn't tell people apart before, um,
Oh God, that's hilarious.
you know you love me.
I
Um,
love you a boatload. But yeah, it's like, I don't want to say that no one ever like was jazzy back in the 80s, but it's like, yeah, it was a lot of blacks, reds, greens, like very generic tights everyone wore. You know, they didn't put as much thought into, their gear as they would in later years.
I
Like it's
mean,
one reason why something like,
one
hmm?
guy could have at least worn a shirt. Like, give the audience a little bit of uh differential.
No singlets this week. Actually, no, the champion was in a singlet this week.
There
So
were a
literally, the
ton of
champion's the only
singlets this
person.
week.
Was there? I didn't even really notice.
Like everybody in one of the tag team matches had a singlet on. There was I think the guy in blue. I think it was Perez.
You think it was who?
Al Perez in the next
Okay.
match. He was in this
Well,
really
he
nice
was in his.
blue singlet.
He wasn't in a singlet. But he was wearing a mesh body shirt during his intro. So it was
Then who was
Al Perez. Al
in
Perez
the
with a
blue
mesh body
singlet?
shirt. Jerry Backlund in the main event, the last match, he was in a blue singlet, the baby blue singlet. But
Weird. I made a note about it, and now I can't find that note.
it'd be the last match. We'll get to that because Al Perez was in red tights and Jerry Gray was in black tights.
Oh, there it
But
is. Yeah.
yeah. So Al Perez won his first two matches in this territory in less than a minute. Then last week he got his ass kicked by Dr. Death Steve Williams, and now he's basically no longer special. He's going 50-50 with Jerry Gray. And this may be a Coco Samoa situation, although he did eventually win here with a bridging German suplex. And for those who don't have any idea what I'm talking about, like Alyssa, in the first few weeks of Mid-South that we covered back in, late December of 81, early January of 82, Coco Samoa came in and he won big matches on back-to-back weeks. And it's like, okay, he's coming in with a bit of a push. And then he never won again. But there was that in the back of your head going, okay, but when he started, he won those couple matches. So he could be a threat to winning any match he's in, just that he never wins again. So I was thinking that might be what we're getting here, but Jerry Gray was not going to beat him. But Al Perez won with his bridging German suplex. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm trying to give myself a suplex to crack my back. Oh,
Do you want me to give you a bridging German suplex this weekend?
honestly, that would probably fix my poor back issues.
Actually, I can't imagine me actually pulling that one off here. I'm no Al Perez.
Well,
I know
I'm gonna
Medusa. You're gonna
power
what?
slam you right into the bed, babe.
I would love to see that happen. I think we might have to put up a camera and film you giving me a power slam into the bed.
I swear I'm not drunk. I'm just tired.
Well, Al Perez is in the territory until February, by the way, so go figure. Last match of the show, North American champion, the champion, with Sir Oliver Humperdink and the humongous Gimp versus Jerry Backlund. Now, you might be wondering yourself, who the hell is Jerry Backlund? And it might help you out if I told you that, most of the time he's in Florida as Jimmy Backlund. And for those who still don't catch onto that, he is future member of the Heavenly Bodies, everyone's favorite scumbag, the gigolo Jimmy Del Rey. And
I know that name.
what was that?
I know that name.
You know the name Jimmy Del Rey?
Yeah.
How do you know that name?
I don't remember.
Okay, great. Well, Jimmy
It,
Del Rey,
that was a visceral
he
reaction.
we didn't get any dick dancing this because he's a jobber. He didn't tell us that, ladies, the line is to the right
Isn't
because
this a
that's not
PG
his
show?
Mid-South Wrestling or something else.
Mid-South Wrestling.
It
Or at
is.
least PG
And
13.
if TV ratings were a thing in 1985, it'd be TV 14, but it's a hard PG.
Well, I mean, if there's dick dancing on the show, it's gonna be
Well, there was no dick dancing. Jimmy Del Rey did not do any dick dancing here.
And I thought Jerry Backlund, I have him written down as the wrestling version of Richard Simmons with that
Because of his
nice,
hair.
yeah, that nice red fro.
I had to laugh because Champion press slams Backlund, and Jerry Backlund is not a very big person, but they were like, "Oh man, look how strong the Champion is because he press slammed Jerry Backlund." We didn't mention this, but during the match between Humongous and Dick Murdoch, Humongous press slammed Dick Murdoch, and Dick Murdoch is at least 100 pounds heavier than Jerry Backlund, at least. And then, for whatever reason, the Champion decided to get some ring time in this week, as he had two opportunities to pin Backlund, but he didn't. But he did eventually win with the pile driver.
Well, he just kept like picking the guy up. Like, dude, I think he's done. The burger is cooked. Take it out of the oven.
And another funny thing is, like, this is like one of those tropes that things that become a trope in wrestling, where the guy that does that, like, if that happened in modern day and one guy kept picking up his opponent, you know that the opponent is going to win, because that's just a trope in wrestling. You're overconfident, you're cocky, and now the other guy's going to roll you up and pin you. That's not what happened here.
Well,
They just
I think okay. Analytical glasses on. I think he did it this week just to show how much of a bastard he is that he keeps kicking someone when he's down. Like, we're not supposed to really like the Nightmare, and this kind of just adds to that certain villainous je ne sais quoi. You know what I mean?
he is a bastard. That is the case.
I swear I'm not drunk.
I don't think I've ever seen you drink anything.
I just went to bed I fell asleep at midnight last night.
Considering you wake up at like 5, that's not a good idea. Well,
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to be over the show in about 5 minutes. Go to sleep at that point.
Okay,
But
good night.
we're not done yet. End of the show comes, and instead of just going off the air, Jim Ross is going to randomly invite Bill Dundee in to cut a promo. Let's go to JR and Bill Dundee.
At this point in time, we have just a few moments left here on Mid-South Wrestling. I want to ask superstar Bill Dundee to come in here. Bill, there's a lot of things going down right now, and I think there's some things that needs a little bit of explanation. And if nothing else, I think you owe the fans somewhat of an explanation as to what's going on.
I don't owe nobody anything, but seeing you asked Mr. Ross, I'm just going to tell you something. I was the first guy to bring class to professional wrestling. I was the first guy to dress up in a nice-looking suit like this. Then all of a sudden, everybody wants to be an imitator. That little goof Bobby Fulton that runs around here in his Kmart jacket. The studs on the back of this more than his whole wardrobe. Well, I'm going to tell you something, Fulton. I'm going to wrestle you next week right here in this ring. And the prize, my boy, if you can beat the superstar, is this suit. And you can't afford a suit like this, Daddy. But if you win, if you get the 1, 2, 3, he can have the suit. He can walk right out of the building with it. Then he'll have a little class to his act, Jack.
So you're saying that you're going to wrestle Bobby Fulton right here next week on Mid-South Wrestling?
You have a date, Jim Ross, and so does Bobby Fulton, and you're looking at the winner. Thank you.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you
So tell me, if this was you, how hard would you be fighting in your match next week with Bill Dundee to try to win his suit.
Who would want such a stanky thing? I mean, like, I don't, like, are they talking the suit that he's wearing, or the wrestling
Yes.
suit, or?
Yes, he's talking about the pink jumpsuit that he was wearing. That was a tremendous jumpsuit, if I do say so myself.
Babe, you're the only one that would want something like that. Like,
If Bill Dundee wants it. Or when you're saying you mean Bill Dundee, not me.
both of you. Y'all nuts.
Well, Bill Dundee is about a foot shorter than me, so we would not fit into the same size bodysuit.
Well, that is the other issue, ain't it?
Well, thankfully he's not wrestling me next week. He's wrestling Bobby Fulton, who, funny thing is, Bobby Fulton is still a little bit taller than him too, even though Fulton's kind of short too.
I'll wrestle you.
I'd even put you over in a match. But so the show goes off the air at this point, and actually I had to laugh because last week they told us they were going to show us the entire angle with the Fantastics and Bill Dundee and Dutch Mantel. Well, they didn't show us that either this week. They really need to stop telling us what we're going to see next week, because half the time they do not deliver.
You know, sometimes if it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Aha. You know, you're born in '96, so this was after the "What do you want on your tombstone" commercials.
Oh my god. I think I remember those in like really old late night reruns. Believe it or not, I used to be a night owl.
Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so free. Lying awake on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me.
Babe, I love you,
run
but
off
are we
the
still recording?
You're.
Oh, fabulous.
So that's the end of Mid-South. What are your overall thoughts on this week's show?
Too much talking, not enough wrestling.
Not enough wrestling on the wrestling show for you? Even though you got like 20 to 25 minutes of wrestling on this show. So, okay. You know, hopefully next week there'll be a little bit more wrestling for you.
Considering my job is talking, I can't believe that there was too much talking for me.
Well, if all they did was have wrestling match, show might be over in 20 minutes. You know, we have to at least get a little bit of time here.
Yeah, but you know, they probably pad their runtime if they actually had the matches that they promised the week before.
Unfortunately, we didn't get the popular little midget wrestlers this week. Maybe next week.
Probably not.
I'm scrolling through Twitter to see if there's anything noteworthy to talk about. Nothing that I'm seeing anyway.
I just saw something on Facebook. Hold on. Where'd it go?
What was that?
I swear I just saw something, but now I can't remember what it was.
Was it something wrestling related or something non-wrestling related?
I think it was something non-wrestling related, but now I don't remember.
Really, speaking of wrestling, somebody's going to their first show.
Who?
You.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Shows you how memorable that show's going to be. But
I swear I'm smart.
Somebody on this show is going to be at Beyond Wrestling's American Rana at the end of the month.
Two somebodies.
In Cranston, Rhode Island, at Rhodes on the Pawtucket, or the Pawtuxet. It's a really worded name of the thing here.
The Pawtuxet?
And Pawtuxet.
Patuxent. That's the name of the river.
Yeah.
That it's on.
Well, it's also the name of it's not really a restaurant. It's kind of, I guess it kind of is, but
Ooh, where are
I
you
was
taking
there
me for dinner?
nowhere, since I'm pretty much gonna leave from work and probably meet you there because I may just go in. Let me see. So, on a national standpoint, the biggest names I'm seeing in this are Ortiz, Jonathan Gresham is going to be there, Mance Warner, Smart Mark Sterling, Mercedes Martinez, Steph DeLander, Timothy Thatcher, the WWE ID Women's Champion Laney Luck is going to be there.
Ooh.
And yeah, it should be a fun show. This is one of their big shows. The dark match is at 7:45. The show officially begins at 8. And front row is sold out right now. So yeah, get your tickets while you can here. But yeah, anything else you want to talk about before we wrap things up here?
I think that's everything, my love. I have a big
Okay.
meeting tomorrow that I have to deal with, so
Ooh,
I'm
big
gonna.
meeting.
Yeah, a big meeting. So I'm not gonna
All
go too in depth because it's company secrets, but
You've seen the viewer count on these shows, right? You know,
yeah, but I don't want to
this
get
will
in trouble
this,
for
this,
violating my
this,
NDA.
yeah, this will be the one that gets like 5,000 listens and gets you fired.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to violate my NDA.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. Hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you all for listening, and we'll talk
I
to you
can
again.
subscribe, bitches.
Like, subscribe, bitches, and we'll talk to you again in 7 days.